So with regards to this block that we're standing on that has, you know, a fair amount of health food stores, there's a flyer over there to take yoga for $1,100 from a princess goddess. The illusions of separation can still be found in cities like Portland, Oregon, in rural towns in Colorado. And there's a lot of anger towards the Trump administration, not so much because they're generally against racism, but Trump makes them look bad is how they feel. They feel that what's happening within our nation makes all Americans look bad. And it is true that some of the things that are taking place, the wars that never end, do make Americans look pretty bad. But instead of simply being angry and rioting, how about we fight oppression and never-ending wars by showing people what consciousness actually looks like? And it's not a marked up bottled drink. That's not consciousness. It's not $100 yoga pants. It's not taking yoga for $300. It's genuine compassion. And what I've come to realize and understand is people hate those of us that actually have compassion left within us. Whether it be the homeless, whether it be general society, no matter who it is. And one of the things that I noticed about this particular town is they have no protests. They have no activists. They have no organic spark. It's counterfeit. It's a slice of California. This is a slice of California. This is the closest thing to LA that a person can get in this whole general area of Colorado. And some people prefer that. The really stark lines between the have and have-nots, homeless over here, wealthy people over here, and the police to keep the homeless moving. And the police to keep the homeless moving. That's what they think is consciousness. That's what they think is compassion. And one of the things that I'm noticing, they have a suicide epidemic in Colorado, and they're not looking for the causes of the suicides in Colorado, and they're not looking for solutions. People are still not connecting the homelessness epidemic, the poverty, and suicides. They're acting like none of it actually matters to them. But the ultimate reality is anytime there's great suffering in any particular geographical area, people are going to suffer, even those with hybrid cars, even those with money, because the illusions of separation is an illusion. We are all connected. We are all connected. And so if there's a lot of people suffering in one particular area, it's going to ripple throughout the city, and it will express itself in that way. Now, people laugh at people like me, and they call us crazy, but what they're unable to do is debunk the argument. What they're unable to see is that very few people even show any compassion. Hardly anyone, right, records a video anymore, walking around discussing what's going on within their society. And the idea of consciousness, just like this building behind me, right? It's about the money for the business, the money to afford the things that are inside, the money to attract, right, people that may be shopping at higher end restaurants into particular friendships. It's classism. So there are class systems, there are caste systems, and you can come to a place that's called one of the friendliest towns in Colorado and actually find yourself in a social hellhole. You can actually find yourself in a little slice of hell. Of course, you would identify it to be hell if you have a spiritual bone in your body, right? Do not confuse beauty with consciousness. Do not confuse physical strength with consciousness, with intelligence. True consciousness, human consciousness, and compassion is nothing like what most people think. It's actually nothing like what most people think. So as far as I'm concerned, a person doesn't have to be a part of a particular religion to evolve their soul. They simply need to be a little bit more evolved than the common man and woman that's walking amongst us. To actually show compassion for the victims of war is taboo. No one protests wars in this town. No one highlights the real plight of racism. It's actually a cover for the materialistic worldview that they worship. You see, YouTube should be a place where ideas like this are shared. It's not crazy to actually share your mind. They think that it's normal to only have a left and a right. They think that it's strange if a man shows emotion when he sees such great injustice. And this is an insane asylum. The sooner that people understand that this is hell, the sooner that we can become a part of a recovery program to recover our soul from this matrix and help it evolve. Look at all those people out there in this world that think that we're ascending to something, that never talk about the millions of people that are being eradicated off the earth. Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen. People are actually conditioned to think that you're a terrorist if you care about innocent people being killed. And we're more on that level in 2018 than we were a decade ago. A decade ago, people would at least pretend to care in some pockets because of what George Bush was doing. Then Obama came in and protesting the wars was absolutely taboo. Then Trump came in, and Trump is like America's #1 boogeyman. I don't like him, but he's an extension. He is what we created. He's what America allowed to happen. Just like with Obama, just like with Bush. And so now we're dealing with a complicated situation to where people are externalizing how we got here, how the economy got so bad, how the economic inequality got so extreme. And so instead of people actually taking responsibility for their actions and how they're actually living in their communities, it's easy to just simply blame the politicians. And this is done on the local level, it's done on the national level. People just blame politicians, but they will never look at themselves in the mirror. So the things that are worshipped is materialism, brand new cars, fancy apartments, fancy things that put in those apartments, including expensive steaks, while they continue living off the bones of the dying world. And they'll do it with a yoga outfit. They'll do it with an Om. They'll do it with a flyer that says they'll teach you how to Om for $500, right? It's like the ultimate example of the fake spiritualists. People that pose as spiritual, people that pose as being friendly to diversity, but in reality, you peel the dirty sheets back, and what you have looking at you is a husk. It's a husk of greed, materialism, classism, gender warfare. This is one big giant machine.